Hello and welcome to episode 25.5, mini episode of Never Heard of It. I'm Craig Moorhead.
Yeah, you're very much Craig Moorhead tonight. I love it. And I'm Sean Harwell. And yeah, thanks for joining us. This is another little episode where we just talk about some stuff that's in the news and stuff that's coming out. And we try to hit a few more things that you've probably heard of or will hear of very, very soon.
That's right. That's right.
Are you feeling okay, Craig?
I'm not feeling great, Sean. I'm taking advantage of my congestion to bring you this smoky, sultry voice tonight, and I'm gonna lean on it heavily.
Don't lean on it too heavily. I might just fall off the edge of my table here.
I hear that.
So, Craig, I thought maybe we would start this episode by just acknowledging the fact that we've now done 25 full-bodied episodes, which that's not a ton of movies for anybody to watch. It's probably a lot for us since we have kids and are lazy.
Agreed.
But I know we're still getting some new listeners, so I thought maybe this might just be a nice little moment for us to talk about a couple of things that we've watched. And I was kind of curious, Craig, if you had, just thinking back, a favorite movie that we've talked about.
Probably my favorite, because I feel like it was such a find, was the movie Caught.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like of all the movies, that one exemplifies the kind of thing I would love to find when we're kind of going through these different streaming services and all that.
That was episode, I'm looking now, it was episode 13.
That it
and
was.
Caught was, that was a Max Ophuls movie with James Mason in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a great one. For me, I don't know, there's so many that I really kind of love. I mean, even Detroit 9000 was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Why Don't You Play in Hell, I loved. It's a little long, but Phoenix, so good. Starred Up, so good. Really powerful movies. I think I'm going to actually just tip my hat again to The Overnighters, the one documentary that we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
I have a hard time picking any faults with that movie in a lot of ways, and I still feel like it's been a while since it's been out, and I don't hear much chatter about it, and I just think it was a great little documentary, and I would love for people to go watch that one at some point.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, that's definitely one of the movies that's kind of stuck with me for a while afterwards, so I can see where you're coming from.
What about best performance?
Well, I mean, the one that just jumps to mind, just because he's also suddenly become... He's just everywhere now. Was Ben Mendelsohn, who I don't think I even knew about before we watched Start Up. So it's a great performance in that, and that just kind of made me, caused me to look for him in other things. Because of that, I've seen a bunch of stuff now.
Right.
I think that was a really good find. And other than that, I would say Carla Jury from Wetlands, which again was just one that's just I don't know. That's a performance that's kind of completely out of the park. She did an amazing job.
Yeah, I think you stole mine. I was going to go with her.
I'm sorry.
No, my second pick, actually, I would say Nina Hoss in Phoenix. Who's leading that. She is terrific in that thing.
Yeah.
I bet she's going to pop up in a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
You wait, Craig.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, and so I think we got to do this. Best De Niro movie.
Yeah.
And we should clarify, if you're just listening, none of these movies are... The Swap was actually a De Niro movie. Or no, Samsung. Sorry, not Swap. But he's in at least 3 movies that we've talked about in some fashion or another.
Right.
Which one was the best?
That's tough. So we had... So to clarify, though, it was Born to Win and The Swap.
And Samsung.
Okay, so those are the 3. So Swap and Samsung were one talk, right?
Yeah, correct.
My favorite performance of his... Of the De Niro movies we've watched, I would actually say is Born to Win. What do you think about that?
I think best performance and best movie with De Niro in it that we saw.
Yes.
I think that's it. Go back and look at some of these. We found some cool stuff and some fun things to talk about. And if you have not yet listened to our guest appearance on Podcasting Them Softly, another great podcast, go check that out. We talked about the movie Buzzard, and that's another one that I thought was a really cool little flick from last year that, I think more people need to check that one out. Craig.
Yeah.
Would you believe that we're not the only ones kind of doing this thing?
No. We are the only ones.
Okay, well, that'll make this short.
Okay.
Actually, I gotta say, Vice, and I don't know if this is on Vice Land. They're now TV network of sorts that's out there, but it's definitely on their website. They've just launched a new series called Outsider, and I watched an episode, and it's really, really good. They're definitely focusing on the cult side of film. They've talked about the movie Miami Connection, which is one I have heard of. I think that's floating around a lot on the internet now, this 80s crazy action flick. But the episode I watched was about a filmmaker from Illinois named David Rock Nelson. Have you ever heard of that guy?
Yes.
You know about him. Okay, I had no clue. Fascinating guy. If you've seen the documentary American Movie, I think that episode will remind you of that a little bit. Just this hardcore Midwestern guy who I think is in his 50s now and has just been making monster movies for, this says, 25 years. And total, complete lo-fi VHS quality to it, but it looks really endearing, and he's hard not to love just watching him in this thing.
True.
So yeah, Craig, you got to check that out. It was a great episode.
It's funny you should say that, Sean, because I've actually checked all these episodes out, and I'll tell you,
God.
I have a personal connection to this.
Get out of here.
A movie I've been working on getting made for a while now, a thing I co-wrote with Todd Rohal, who we talked with a while back. Well, one of the producers of that is Zach Carlson, who is one of the, as I understand it, one of the two guys. The other one, I believe, is Evan Husney, who are behind this series.
Yeah, and Zach was in the David Rock Nelson episode, I believe, right?
Yeah, that is Zach. And knowing Zach for, I guess, the relatively short amount of time that I have, this is just the perfect show for him to bring to the American people.
Yeah.
So that's been very exciting, actually, to watch this series, and I too heartily recommend it.
Yeah, we'll post a link to that. It's great. I can't wait to watch the other episodes. Bit of sad news, Craig. I guess Tarantino recently
died?
No, but he reiterated the fact that he's done after 10 movies. He's not making another one, except for he said he may come back when he's 75 and tell like a geriatric movie. Those are his words. But yeah, I read this today on thefilmstage.com, which was a new website to me and a great website. But I don't know. What do you feel about that? I mean, I have a hard time imagining he doesn't have more movies in him than that, and that he could just not make movies after 2 more. I know he's mentioned possibly doing TV, and that's all good and well, but
yeah,
man, I'm going to miss him. I haven't even seen The Hateful Eight yet, but I would hate to see him stop after just 2 more.
I don't know. There's a part of me that's kind of like, I don't want to call Tarantino a liar, but there's a reason that I feel like I'm not that upset about the idea that he's saying he's going to stop making movies. And I think the reason I'm not that worried about it is because I feel like it's kind of a lie.
You think he's crying wolf? Okay.
I mean, kind of. I'm not saying it's like a publicity thing, and he's, it's like this whole planned out thing. I just kind of feel like he's like, man, I'm fed up with this. And then like in 2 years, he's gonna be like, oh, this is a great idea for a movie. And then he's going to come out of the movie and just be like, oh, that thing I said about retiring? Bah.
I can see that. But I could also see him being the guy that would be like, no, what? Screw you. Like, I said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it just to spite you.
Maybe.
Like,
Well,
like just.
Maybe it's because I feel like Kevin Smith sort of did the same thing at some point.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And it's like, okay, and how many movies has he made since then?
Yeah, Soderbergh is kind of done the same thing a little bit too, I think.
I just kind of feel like, I guess my thing is, is there a strategic advantage in a negotiation somewhere where if you announce publicly you're going to retire?
I think there might be. Maybe it's like music, like the music business now. Like you actually, I think if you're in a band and you've been around for 10 years, do yourself a favor. Take the next 10 off and then get back together. It's a gold mine.
Yeah,
you probably don't have to take 10 off anymore. Like you just take 3 off.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, if Tarantino goes 6+ years without making a movie, that next movie he makes is an event.
Sure.
Regardless of what it is.
Well, I mean, it's like Malick or Kubrick or somebody. Mm-hmm. Except those guys didn't run their mouths so much,
or at all.
Exactly. When they came out of the movie, you're like, what? You made a movie? Fantastic.
Maybe that's the bigger question. Can he retire and be quiet?
Right, exactly. How can he not be in the public eye? I like his movies. I mean, any movie he comes out with, I want to see it. There's always something interesting there no matter what. So, yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to know that he's just going to stop making movies. I just don't believe that's true at all.
Well, another thing I thought about was when I read this, I was fortunate to see the Brian De Palma documentary last week, which is called De Palma. And it was great. It's very static. There's just one long interview with him sitting in a chair wearing 2 purple shirts, and and then there are a lot of clips. But he talks about in the documentary himself that he thinks, you know, a filmmaker's got his 30s, 40s, and 50s. That's pretty much it. Anything after that, diminishing returns from the quality. And he's like, it's just a fact of life. Like, you go through the filmographies, and that's what it is. It's like, obviously, it takes a physical toll on you making movies, and the business gets harder. But I don't know. Like, I do think, you know, if everybody buys into that notion, then you get guys like Tarantino who are just not going to do it to, like, save whatever that resume looks like in their mind for being pristine. And I don't know. I am of the opinion that I would rather have the flops, the hits and misses. I'm okay with it. I think everybody's got a miss. You know, I can't think of a great filmmaker who really hasn't. Right. In some way or another. And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're a director, you work. Like, that's it. Like, you should be making movies. Sure. And I will live with the ones that aren't great and expect that as you get older. But,
well, like, I don't want a director, especially someone that's super talented like De Palma. I don't want him making movies sort of under duress. I don't want him making movies that he hates just because he has to make movies. Like, I don't want a cynical movie necessarily like that. But at the same time, like, you're exactly right. I'd rather people just keep making movies. If you make some bad movies, well, everyone can ignore those, because you still have all these great movies. Like, you know, people don't have to watch every single thing you've made over and over again. If it's bad, they'll just not watch it, and they'll just watch the good stuff. So I feel like that's kind of a good evening out of things.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Woody Allen is obviously the extreme example of the opposite side of that coin. And I think, you know, he's even talked about it himself. Is like, some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. A lot of that's out of my control, the reception of these things. Yeah. And I agree with that to a degree as well. And so we'll see. I definitely think, obviously, for a lot of these guys, the business has changed. You know, I think Woody Allen makes small enough movies and always has that maybe that affords him that luxury a little bit, you know. But, you know, if he is true to his word, I can't wait to see what Tarantino makes when he's 75, what that movie is going to look like. And I know you're a fan of movies with old people in them, too. So we'll go to that together with our canes.
Yes. Speaking of predictions and how things, you know, play out, how things perform, we should bring up. I think I was actually the one who said that I thought Spielberg's The BFG would be a monster hit. It's a Disney movie from Steven Spielberg, and it's from a Roald Dahl book that was beloved, apparently. Here's the deal, though. In case you haven't been paying attention, the BFG has done really badly. To go and look at those numbers and think that this is a big budget Spielberg movie is kind of insane.
We were wrong. We were really wrong.
We were really wrong.
I
don't know how we were that wrong, but apparently it's a $140 million movie. It came out just over a week ago now. Well, I guess 11 days ago. It has made worldwide. It has made $50 million. Now, $50 million is a lot of money, but a movie like this should have, I don't know, the worldwide should probably be $150 million by now. I have no idea what happened. Probably no one will ever know exactly. There are a lot of opinions out there. I don't know. I saw a lot of articles afterwards about how everyone thinks that Spielberg has lost his magic touch because a movie of his has failed.
Ridiculous.
Which is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not even going to entertain that.
No. But I mean, it is kind of a thing to see that happen, because I mean, to me, nothing about that says that should fail.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so all of this is just speculation. But I do think, it does seem like people are pointing back to the title.
Sure.
I think calling it the Big Friendly Giant might have helped. I mean, it might have. I don't know. I think, normally I think some of that is nonsense, but it could have. And the only other thing I can think of is maybe the character design a little bit. Like I don't know if you're supposed to be a little afraid of the giant or you're supposed to like the giant. Right. Basically, it doesn't look like Shrek,
Sure.
And that's kind of what sells in this day and age, unless you've got Harry Potter behind you,
Right.
And I think that book is old enough that it doesn't have that momentum, possibly, and familiarity. So who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Do you know anybody that's seen it? Did you see it?
No, I did not see it. We're definitely going to take our kids because our kids are interested because we read them the book recently because we had this whole box set of Roald Dahl stuff. And I mean, the book is kind of a rambling mess, the way that I feel a lot of his books can be. But it's fun. It's a fun mess. And I just figured, well, they'd suss the mess out a little bit and make a little more of an adventure out of it. Like it certainly doesn't seem that hard. So yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, the title doesn't help. And the other thing I have to say is I really didn't see advertisements for this almost at all. Like I think about this weekend's Ghostbusters, and half the people I know think it already came out a few weeks ago because they've seen so much advertising for it.
I think you're right. It doesn't quite have the awareness. And I think both of us, as far as our predictions are concerned, clearly underestimated Finding Dory. I mean, that thing is just a total behemoth of a success.
Yeah. And Purge did just fine.
Of course, because it's an election year.
So all that being said, how do you think Ghostbusters is going to do this weekend?
There's no way it doesn't take the top spot. It's got to.
I think it will.
If it does not, it'll be a huge disappointment.
Yeah. It feels like Sony's pretty confident about it. It seems like the reviews are coming in good enough.
But that said, I don't think Secret Life of Pets will be that far behind.
I think you're exactly right. I think this time we've nailed it. What would be your ideal gender switch reboot?
Probably Full Metal Jacket.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Gosh, I don't know. But yeah, something macho like that. I mean, I think there's... I know they've been talking about doing a sort of Ocean's 11 type movie with women. They may be doing a direct within that franchise thing. That may actually be happening now with Sandra Bullock and others. Yeah, I don't know. Something, in the military or macho or just, killing them softly or something. Just something super masculine, I guess.
Interesting. Well, I feel like if this is big, the only thing they'll do a gender switch to is a comedy.
Yeah, probably.
But then again, I also don't know what they would dramatically reboot. I don't know. Like Rambo or something.
The superheroes are doing that in their comics, the gender switch. And I don't see why that wouldn't eventually trickle down to the movies as well.
True.
Someday. We'll see whatever they can do to keep people in seats.
Indeed.
Anything else?
I got nothing else. I think that's a fine show.
As always, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week to talk about the movie White God. It's streaming on Netflix. Go check that out. It's a really interesting, crazy ride there from Hungary. And until then, come find us online. You can go to our website, neverheardpodcast.com, and find links to everywhere else that we are.
That's right.
Oh, if you're at all a listener on Google Play Music, they got podcasts now. We're up there.
Nice.
If that's your bag of tea.
Man, we're everywhere. Thanks for the show, Sean.
You're welcome, Craig.
Everybody out there, keep following your dreams, no matter where they lead.
There's probably a couple places you shouldn't follow, but okay, for the most part. Yeah.
I'm advocating following them fully.
Okay.